Hello, gorgeous people. How is everyone doing? It's Bella, and today I'm so excited to finally complete the cycle with the fourth video on the misalignment that we have created in the way that our bodies are supposed to operate to the way that we are actually living our lives, and how this misalignment is the root cause of some of the main health issues, mental well-being, and social disturbances that we're seeing in the current world. And today's topic is the culmination of the taboo-ness of the topic, as well as in the, in how little light and attention it receives, and how poorly it is understood. I'd like to talk about sexuality, but specifically female sexuality, the woman's orgastic nature, and ownership of our body that has been routinely taken away from us. And this is extremely important, especially in the light of everything that's happening in the discussion around abortion. But we will start with orgasms and how the female sexuality was supposed to be by design. So if we look at, kind of the different needs that our body has, sexuality is a very distinct one that is poorly understood. And, recent studies have shown that, for example, play in children is an actual need that, just like water and food, that if you don't get enough of it, you will compensate for it in some way the next day or the day after. And so it's an actual need that our body requires in order to express itself fully, but also on a physiological level, to produce the right amount of feel-good hormones. And to me, play in children is equivalent to pleasure in adults. And so we have this need for experiencing a certain amount of, or the certain dose of pleasure per day or whatever, per a certain period of time. And when we don't get it, we create stagnation in the bodies. We create, misalignments, anxiety, mental health issues, and the like. And not only, is sexuality in general not in a place where it should be, but if you look at female sexuality specifically, which is very different by nature than male sexuality, that part is even worse off. And let me explain why from different perspectives. From a physiological perspective, if you look at the Taoist explanation, sexuality to them was the fourth and main pillar of longevity, and the cultivation of this energy was key to our health and well-being. And they describe the female sexuality as equivalent to water. So whereas male sexual energy is like fire, so it turns on fast and turns off fast as well, the female sexuality requires a long time to heat up, but then it stays hot for a while. And the main difference is the timing. There are many other differences, but the timing is kind of a key. And because sexuality has been reduced to, like a very short amount of sexual interaction that we actually have, as portrayed by, the mass media, in the films and the pornography industry, we don't give importance to how female sexuality should be expressed. The fact that it takes longer, and that when it does reach its peak, females have a ability they have a very multi-orgastic nature, and this nature is extremely important for who they are, for their self-expression, for their health and well-being, but also for creating harmonious relationships. And I have no doubt that the reason that there are more writers and politicians and kind of influential people, they're still male dominated, that it directly related to this lack of connection that we have to our own female sexuality, which is the source of this creative power. Modern research shows that less than 40% of women experience orgasm, and many of them are actually, unable to do it during intercourse. And who cares? But there are studies also that show that orgasm is kind of much stronger in preventing anxiety and depressions than some of the most powerful, potent drugs that are out there in the market. So, within us, we have this powerful force to heal, to cure, to prevent disease, and to really feel good about ourselves, source of creativity that is not fully expressed. That is a root of not only those dimensions, but a root of this inner dissatisfaction with ourselves, the lack of confidence as women. Because, it's like when you're not able to express who you are at that level, and that's the foundation, and that's where you grow from. So if the foundation is, wobbly, and you don't feel that ownership of your own body, you end up completely, all the other pieces become misaligned. So what that does is it creates a lot of misunderstanding, misperceptions, and the lack of knowledge about one of the most powerful sources of vitality that we have as women. And if you look at, for example, the Egyptian and Mesopotamian civilizations, where the main goddesses, where the main gods were women, goddesses like Inanna and Ishtar and Isis, their main characteristic was their sexuality and femininity, and they were revered especially for this power to give life, to create, to give fertility to the lands and to the populations. And so that was kind of the main thing to be revered. And then we go from that perspective to the monotheistic religions, where as we moved away from that into the monotheistic religions, and you can argue whether this was done on purpose or not, but women lost their power through the storytelling. So if you look at the way that we really create these archetypes of what we should be, or what the values that we should be projecting out there, and you see that we have in all of the major religions monotheistic focus on the male figure god, and the female goddesses completely lose their sexuality, their completeness, like Mother Mary, who becomes the Virgin, and all of these other goddesses who lose that primary power that they have, which is their femininity and sexuality. You see that it is no coincidence that this happens also in a time where patriarchy and the male-dominated societies needs to control the female sexuality. Why is control of female sexuality so important? Because whereas before in a tribal world, it didn't matter whose offspring the women were bringing in. So the word tío came before the word father, so which means that everyone was taking care of the kids in the tribe. All of a sudden, with the shift from hunting gathering to this world where we became reliant on the production of grains, this was very labor intensive, women became dependent on men for bringing food to the table, whereas before they could do this on their own. And as they settled, women started having more offspring. So instead of 1 or 2, they started having 10. And this created vulnerability and a gross dependence on males to take care of them, right? But what also happened is that we became obsessed with property rights, which before didn't matter, right? You could get we were moving from one place to another, but now we were settled. So the delineation of your territory became extremely important, and that was tied to the female sexuality directly, because whoever she gave as offspring, you had to control who was your son or who wasn't your son, so you could make sure that you were protecting your property and it goes, passed down from generation to generation. So we see with the arrival of this change in the way we live our life, and with the arrival of the monotheistic religions, we see that the female body and the female sexuality comes under scrutiny and control. I'm watching now the, 6 or 7 episode of the Bridgertons, and it's, you see how extremely unaware women are of their bodies and of their ability to experience pleasure with the body. And not only that, just like where children come from, right? This was kept pure secret. It's almost as if, we were kept in ignorance to be able to fully be controlled by the male-dominated society. And even though things have shifted a lot, as I was watching the episodes, I realized that nothing has changed that much. When the woman is allowed to take advantage of this full range of sexuality and multi-orgastic nature that she has the ability not only to heal her body from all of the different mental and health issues, but she's actually an instrument for healing for others and for achieving higher levels of consciousness. Again, in the Egyptian times, for example, the priestesses that were trained in the sexual healing arts were seen as the portals to this higher consciousness. In conclusion, I would like to say that the subject of female sexuality requires a much greater attention, much more research, much more understanding, so that we can understand how our bodies work physiologically, the extent of the expression of this female sexuality that exists out there, and the incredible benefits that it brings to our bodies and to the societies at large.